Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. As promised, we are going to talk about the next part of our verb tense series. Today we're going to talk about the perfect progressive tense. So what does the perfect progressive tense mean? We have three perfect progressive tenses. We have the past perfect progressive tense, the present perfect progressive tense, and the future perfect progressive tense. All three mean something slightly different, as you could probably guess, but they also share similarities. So I'm going to talk about what the perfect progressive tense is all about. So last time in our previous video, we talked about the perfect tense, and the perfect progressive tense is in many ways very similar to the perfect tense. As you can recall, we said that the perfect tense is used to talk about two events. There's event 1 that happened before event 2. And we gave an example. The first example that we gave for the past perfect tense is, I had visited Paris before my 21st birthday. And in this example, we said that event 1 is, I had visited Paris. And then event 2 is my 21st birthday. Both of these events happened in the past, but I had visited Paris happened first. Okay, that event happened before the second event, which is my 21st birthday. So in the perfect progressive tense, there are also two events that are happening. But in the first event, we are talking about something that is continuing over a period of time, right? So this first event is, you can think of it as something that is a little bit longer, happening over a period of time, but it is still happening before the second event. So I'm going to give you some examples now. In the past perfect progressive tense, an example sentence looks like this. I had been playing the piano before I started high school. Can you guess what event 1 is and what event 2 is? That's correct. Event 1 is, I had been playing the piano. Event 2 is, I started high school. Both of these events happened in the past, but event 1 happened before event 2. Now let's take a look at an example sentence using the present perfect progressive tense. I have been eating lunch until your call now. Can you guess what event 1 is and what event 2 is? That's correct. Event 1 is, I have been eating lunch. And event 2 is your call now. But remember, we mentioned that now is always implied when we're talking about the present perfect tense. Likewise, now is also implied when we're talking about the present perfect progressive tense. So usually you won't see the word now, but it is implied. Now let's take a look at the future perfect progressive tense. An example sentence reads, by 2024, I will have been working at the shop for 4 years. Can you guess what event 1 is and what event 2 is? That's right. Event 1 is I will have been working at the shop for 4 years. Event 2 is by 2024. So here, by 2024, event 2 is actually written before event 1. But the meaning is still the same. We've just moved event 2 to the beginning of the sentence. Event 2 can be at the beginning of the sentence or it can be at the end of the sentence. But the meaning is still the same. So how do we make the perfect progressive tenses? Let's take a look. In the past perfect progressive tense, we use had been and the verb in the ing form. Can you think of an example sentence using the past perfect progressive? Here's my example sentence. I had been driving for 2 years before I was 16. In this sentence, I had been driving for 2 years happened before I was 16. So that's the same as saying that I was driving when I was 14 and 15. Let's take a look at the next sentence, the present perfect progressive. In order to make the present perfect progressive, you have to use has or have plus been and the verb in the ing form. In my example sentence, I have the sentence, I have been watching YouTube all day. Remember, all day is not required because it is implied. When do we use the verb has? Yes, that's correct. We use it when the subject begins with he, she, and it. But when the subject begins with I, you, we, and they, we use the verb have. Now let's take a look at the future perfect progressive. Can you think of an example sentence using this form? My example sentence reads, we will have been dating for 7 years by next November. We will have been dating for 7 years is event 1. Next November is event 2. If you look at all of these sentences, event 2 is at the end of the sentence. But it does not have to be. It can be written in the beginning of the sentence and then separated by a comma. Now it's your turn to practice. Take a look at these sentences. You can pause the screen now. You're going to write the sentences and fill in the blanks using the appropriate verb forms for 1 through 6. Please write your sentences into our Google Classroom. Let's do number 1 as an example. For number 1, the sentence reads, I blank ballet until I went to college. Here, the verb should be dance. You have to use one form of the perfect progressive. Should you use the past the present, or the future? Take a look at some of the clues in the sentence. There's one event that we know. I went to college. Is this happening in the past, the present, or the future? That's correct. Went is past tense, so it happened in the past. Sentence number 1 must be the past perfect progressive. So the sentence should read, I had been dancing ballet until I went to college. Now please complete the other sentences and upload them into our Google Classroom. After you've written your answers for 2 to 6, please write 3 sentences of your own. 1 sentence should be using the past perfect progressive, 1 sentence using the present perfect progressive, and another sentence using the perfect progressive. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.